Hi, this is Ethan here with mydrawingtutorials.com, and welcome back to the 5th video in this free lesson series on how to draw perspective. So in the previous lesson we covered the basic elements of perspective and how it works, and also taken you through a simple drawing exercise for 1-point perspective. By the way, if you missed those lessons, you can just click on the link on the screen or right below this video to watch them now. Alright, so in this video we're going to go through a step-by-step process to construct an entire room in 1-point perspective, and we're going to draw this illustration right here. So let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to start with a blank piece of paper, and the first thing I'm going to do is draw the perimeter of my room. And so I'm going to make this a rectangle, and it's going to be 6 inches tall by 9 inches wide. You can make your room whatever dimension you want, but I'm just going to make mine 6 inches by 9 inches. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle like this right on the paper. Okay, so the next step is to establish the horizon line. Now, since the horizon line is going to be the eye level of the observer, if the observer is looking into this room, a reasonable eye level would be somewhere around here. So I'm going to measure about 2 inches down from the top of the room and draw a horizontal line across. So there's the horizon line, and now I'm just going to put my vanishing point right in the middle of this line, and you can use your ruler here to make sure you get the vanishing point position right at the center. So there's the vanishing point. Now the next step is to establish the back side of this room. So if this outer edge here is the front side of the room, we want to draw in the back side. So to do that, first thing I'm going to do is draw a line from each one of these 4 corners here and connect it back to the vanishing point. Okay, so these blue construction lines here are going to help me place my back wall. Now, you don't have to use color pencil. I'm just doing that for the sake of the video. You can just use regular pencil when drawing your construction lines, and make those lines light because they're not going to be in your final drawing. Alright, so now I'm just going to pick where I want my back wall to be. Obviously, the back wall is going to be slightly smaller than the front wall, so I'm just going to pick this point right here to start drawing the back wall. So now I'm just going to take my ruler, measure against this point, draw a straight line up and down until it intersects with these blue construction lines, and at those intersection points I'm going to draw a horizontal line across and then up to form a smaller rectangle. Okay, so there's my back wall. Notice that this back wall here isn't perfectly centered against the front wall, and there's more space up here than there's down here. That's okay, that's how it's supposed to look in perspective. Now I'm just going to take each one of these corners of the back wall and connect it to the front wall via a short line. Okay, so now that we have the outline of the room completed, let's start putting things into the room. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw in a window on this back wall right here. And it's just going to be a rectangular window. The dimension, I'll make it about 3.5 inch wide by 2 inches tall, and I'll just position it somewhere in this area right here. When you draw yours, just try to make it as evenly spaced on this back wall as you can. Okay, so there's my window. So now to make the window more three-dimensional, I'm just going to add a thin frame on the inside of this window here. So I'm just going to draw a smaller rectangle on the inside of it. Okay, so that's the window frame, and now to make the window frame look as if it's sort of popping out of the wall a little bit, I'm going to add an even thinner frame on the inside of this one. So I'm just going to draw a smaller rectangle, but I'm going to keep the lines close to this one. So the edge is only going to be a tiny bit. Okay, so that's what that's going to look like, and now to complete it off, I'm going to take this corner and join them together with this short diagonal line, and I'm just going to do that same thing to all the other corners. And that's it. So you can see just by adding a few simple lines you can really give it a very nice three-dimensional look. Okay, so now that we're done with that window, I'm going to go ahead and add a door to the left hand side of this room right here. Now I want the door to be in line with the window, so I'm going to take my ruler and measure it against the top edge of this window, and I'm going to mark out the point where it intersects with this line right here. Okay, so here's the point where the top edge of this window intersects with this side of the wall. Now I want to take my pencil and draw a construction line from that point back to the vanishing point. And I'm going to draw the line just on this wall right here. Alright, so there's the blue construction line I just drew, and I went ahead and connected it to the top edge of this window so you can see how it works. And what this blue construction line is basically telling me is that if I wanted to make my door in line with the window, this is where I would have to draw it. So this is going to be the top edge of my door right here. So now I'm just going to mark out how wide I want my door to be. So I'll just mark it out at this point and this point, and so I'll draw a line from here to here. Okay, so there's the top edge of my door. It might be a little bit hard to see on camera, but now I'm going to draw a straight line from each end all the way down to the floor. Okay, and now just as with the window, I'm going to put a small frame on the inside of this door. Okay, so now the next step for the door is to add in this inner frame right here, just like we did with the window, except the only difference is now because the door is turned this way, we're only going to be able to see this part of the inner frame, and this part will be blocked by the door. So I'm just going to draw a straight line on this side here, and then draw another straight line across. And that's it. That will be our inner frame, and I'm just going to connect this point to this point here, and we're done. So actually, to help you see it better, let me shade it in. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And now to make this door frame look as if it's popping out of the wall a bit, I'm going to go over to this side of the door, and I'm going to draw a straight line right next to it. So just like that, and then I'm just going to connect the top part here with a horizontal line. So that's going to be the part of the door that's protruding out of the wall. And to help you see it better, let me just shade it in. Okay, so there's our door. It looks very three-dimensional. Now the last part is to just add in a little doorknob right here. So I'm just going to put in a small oval shape for the doorknob. And then I'll put a little wedge shape right here to connect the doorknob to the door. And that's it. Okay, so next let's add a window on this side of the wall here. And once again, to ensure that that window is level with this window here and this door here, I'm going to take my ruler and measure the top edge of this window and draw a line across. So there's the point where it intersects. And now I'm going to connect that point to the vanishing point. Okay, so this blue construction line right here marks the top edge of my window. And now I just have to mark out how wide I want it. So right there and there looks good. Next, I also want to ensure that the bottom edge of the window is lined up with each other as well. So I'm going to do the same thing for this bottom edge here. Okay, so this blue construction line here is telling me that this here will be the bottom edge of my window. And now I'm just going to draw a straight line from this point down here and from this point down here. And now we'll just connect the top edge. Okay, so once again, I'm just going to draw a smaller frame within this window. Okay, so now to draw the inside edge of the window. And just like the door, this side of the inside frame is going to be covered up by the window, and we're only going to see this part here, and also this part on the bottom right here. Okay, and then connect this corner to this corner, and this corner to this corner. And lastly, we're going to make the frame pop out of the wall by drawing a line on this side of the window. So there's the line, and then we'll just connect the top and the bottom. And let me just shade everything in so you can see it easier. And we are all done with that window. Okay, so that's what our room looks like so far. So now let's add in a little table right in the center of the room right here. Okay, so for this table, I'm going to draw the further side of the table first, and I'm going to make that side about 3 inches long. And I want the table to be centered with this window as best I can, so I'm just going to try to draw it in the middle of this window as best I can. Alright, so that's the further side of the table. Now to find the front side of the table, what I'm going to do is take each end of this line here and connect it back to the vanishing point. Alright, so by doing that, it's going to give me these blue guiding lines right here. And so these are going to tell me where the side edge of my table is going to be. So now I just have to pick how big and wide I want this table to be. So I'm just going to pick, let's say, this point right here. And I'm going to draw a straight line from this point all the way over to this other construction line. Okay, and now just to close up these side edges here. Alright, so there's the tabletop, but it's looking kind of flat, so I want to add some dimension to it. So to do that, I'm just going to go to this front edge here and draw another line right underneath it. Okay, so just like that, and now we're going to connect the two lines together over at this end with a short vertical line, and also over at this end. Okay, so now let's put on some legs on this table. Once again, we're going to draw the back legs of the table first. So I'm just going to pick a point where I think it makes sense for the back legs to go and draw a straight line downward. Okay, so there's my line right there, and now I'll just draw a line across here and then back up just to complete a rectangular shape. So that's what it looks like, and now we'll do the same thing over here. Be sure to make a note of how far in the back leg goes so that you can make it the same distance over on this side. Okay, so now that we have the back legs, time to put in the front leg. And once again, to find out where to put the front legs, we're going to take this corner here of the back leg and draw a construction line from the vanishing point through that point. Okay, so these blue construction lines here are going to tell us where the front leg is supposed to land. So I'm going to pick a location, let's say this point, to be where the corner of my front leg is going to be, and draw a straight line from there all the way up to the table. And now I'll draw a horizontal line across, and lastly a line back up to complete the rectangle. Okay, so just like that. And now I'm going to do the same thing over here, making sure to keep all the spaces and measurements even so that the table will appear symmetrical. Okay, so now that we have the table legs drawn in, let's add some dimension to it. So let's work on this leg here first, and what I'm going to do is draw a small line from this corner here back towards the vanishing point, but it's just going to be a very short line. So just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take the end of that line and draw a straight line up until I hit the table. And that's it. That's how you add more dimension to your table legs. So now let's do it to all the rest of these table legs and see what that looks like. And that's it. And so now the next step is to add some flooring to our room, and I just want to add some wood planks that goes in this direction on the floor. So what I'm going to do is take my ruler and measure it against this side right here, and I'm going to divide it into a bunch of even segments. I'm just going to make those segments about 1/4 of an inch long. So I'm just going to mark out 1/4 inch segments here. Okay, so I divided up this line into even segments of 1/4 of an inch, and sometimes the table legs might get in the way. You can go ahead and just mark through the table legs. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take each one of these markings and line it up with the vanishing point, and then draw a line through both points onto the ground, just like that. Okay, so let's do a few more so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm lining up the ruler with the vanishing point and the marking, and then drawing a line right onto the floor. Okay, so now let's just do this for all the rest of the markings. Okay, so that's what our flooring looks like, and of course whenever you hit the table legs, you're going to go ahead and draw around it so that you don't go on top of the table legs. Okay, and now let's just take our eraser and take out these extra lines here that's on top of the table legs. Okay, and that's what our drawing looks like so far. So go ahead and get your pencil and paper and draw this part on your own. And in tomorrow's video, we're going to put the final touches in the drawing and also shade it in. So once again, if you're already subscribed to my newsletter, all you have to do is watch your inbox for an email from me tomorrow. And if you're not signed up yet, please go to mydrawingtutorials.com/perspective or simply click on the link right below this video and fill out your email onto the new page that pops up, and that way you'll be signed up to my newsletter and you'll be guaranteed not to miss any new lessons that come out. Alright, so thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends on your favorite social media network. I'll see you tomorrow.